Evening, everybody. It is 6 o'clock. So we will call to order tonight's Ogden Valley City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 2nd. We are here at our anchor location, which is the Huntsville Town Hall Council Chambers. We are also live on Zoom for electronic participation. We will go ahead and call roll to record the attendees we have tonight. City Council Member Hickman. Walking up to the dais right now, we have City Council Member Shaw. City Council Member Booth is participating via Zoom. City Council Member Hoagland and City Council Member Julie Baker are present in the room. I am Mayor Waldler. We also have our treasurer, recorder, and viewer in-house this evening. Everyone who is able, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We follow that with a moment of silence. Thank you very much. All right, this evening is City Council meeting. We will start our City Council meeting as we do each time with a section for public comment. We will begin with people in the room and then move to people online. If you are online, raise your hand if you wish to speak. And when it is the time for the online comments, our IT director will unmute you and you will be able to proceed. For everybody, anyone who wants to make a public council, please keep the topics germane to the business of the city, things that we can actually affect change on. Keep your comments to anywhere between 2 and 3 minutes. So please be concise. There is an item on the agenda that talks about not making comments on any items on the agenda. I have in the past and will continue to strike that. If you wish to speak about an item that is on tonight's agenda, we would be happy to listen to it. So there's no requirement to exclude that. So starting with people in the room, anyone who wishes to speak. We're set up a little differently this evening. It turns out if you want to give public comment, if you stand at about where Mr. Dunleavy's feet are, you might move them out of the way. And that's about it. A little bit further back. Just where that first chair is, and that empty room. Perfect. That's where we would need you to stand so that the owl can pick you up. Last request is that you come forward, you state your full name and address for the record. So anyone in the room that wishes to speak about any topic your heart desires. Yes, sir.
You've seen me before. My name is Scott Kerr. We own a property on 601 South, 7900 East. As we've talked about the storage use and things like that, it's come to mind thinking if my attorney that we've hired is Brent Bateman. He's a former Utah property ombudsman. And I get a feeling that you don't have a problem with storage usage. It's just how you handle it in your zoning. We would offer to maybe trying to take things off your table and get you good on other things. This is a little thing for you guys. But if we can maybe put together, we've already provided an ordinance, but also what other cities have done. Because I understand that you're having, how do we handle this? Should it grow out of a commercial zone or should it grow out of an industrial zone? If you wouldn't mind, I'd be sure to hire him to help us out at no cost to you and maybe give you an idea of what other cities do with it.
That'd be lovely.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. I'm going to have fun here tonight and watch you guys do it.
I hope you're.
I'm curious to see what the name is.
There's no won't have the name yet, but.
Dang.
Yes.
Hi. Terry Stearman, I live 4490 Powder Mountain Road. What else? The reason I wanted to stand up and say something quickly doesn't have anything to do probably with what's on your agenda tonight. However, it's extremely important to me and my husband. We've been in the valley now for about 24 years when he retired from the Air Force. Living on Powder Mountain Road, as you can imagine, the last couple of years have been horrendous for road noise and dirt. Constant traffic. It's taken our tiny little house where we used to be able to sit on the front porch and listen to birds. We can't even speak to each other on the front porch anymore because the traffic is so constant and so loud. So I'm just curious about things like road noise. Do we have any road noise ordinances or anything like that? There's got to be some way. It's dangerous. We've had one cat get killed. There's no way a kid or an animal could get out of the way of those humongous trucks speeding down the road. No way. And so I'm just asking, what can we do about it? And what we will be able to do about it. So.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the room wish to speak? Is there anybody online or any other?
There's gonna be, raise your hand right here.
There's a gentleman there.
Excuse me. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Esfeld. I live at 5964 East Bighorn Parkway in Eden. I founded, this is concerning the STR proposed regulation. I founded Snow Basin and Powder Mountain Vacation Rentals in 2010. We specialize in STR management of large homes in that market, and it's been hugely needed in this area. So after reading your proposed regulations, I'm just aghast, frankly. I mean, I see nothing but tax increases and stifling regulations in this area. You come out with a statement talking about decaying social capital. That has no place in this discussion. There is no social decay from STRs. In fact, they only enhance the community. We're not compared to hotels. You say in place of hotel rooms in this valley. Well, there aren't any. But even if there were, we need a huge pool of short-term rental properties. They bring in huge tourism dollars. They support local business, and there is no negative impact if they're managed properly, which of course they need to be. And the parking regulations and the noise and the partying obviously has to be regulated. But so they don't take away from long-term rentals. There is a huge incentive for people to rent their property in a long-term manner. 45% exemption of their property taxes. There's no such incentive to perform short-term rentals. So the people, the vast majority of our owners, in fact, all of them, they utilize their own property. So they're supplementing by doing short-term rentals. And we pay huge amount in lodging taxes. We support the local business. So these owners are not going to rent on a long-term basis. There is no competition there. They rent on a short-term basis so they can enjoy the rental of their property. The use of their property. I encourage owners all the time who have 3, 4, and 5 bedroom homes that it's better to do a long-term lease, especially if they say, oh, I'm not using the property. It's way more financially viable to rent on a long-term basis versus short-term. So it's strictly supplementing so these owners can utilize their property as well. And the occupancy is an outright abuse of power. Okay, this does not work. We have great regulations up at Trappers Ridge that is 20 years in the making, and we're 2 per bedroom plus 4. That works very well, as long as you have the parking and other aspects to support that, which these homes do. I have a 9-bedroom home I manage. You're gonna limit that home to 10? No, that does not work at all. So, we will fight this vehemently, because 10 people in a 9-bedroom home does not work. So I'd look at the Trappers Ridge model and the bridges and the fairways. It's working really well. Other areas in the valley, I still believe that the parking is available, 2 per bedroom, plus 4 works extremely well. To limit it 10, it just,
so I've heard, and we have not adopted an STR ordinance, so that is up for discussion. But I
That's
heard
great.
the upset with occupancy and, the stifling regulations. I'm guessing there's also the mandatory, inspection, things like that. All of that is for discussion. It has not been.
Super, that's great. And we win all of our homes are licensed.
Actually, so you have to give people.
Okay.
Can't let everybody, run on, but would you please submit what you wrote to us? So you
Sure.
have it, the full thing that you wanted to say, and that way we can just keep.
You bet.
But we'll get the whole.
I will, yes.
Okay. Alright, I'll take it.
Okay.
Or
There's,
you can email it to us if you wanna keep that.
I'll email it, because I made some other notes, so.
And we'll get it out to everybody.
Okay, great. I hope that, reasonable heads prevail here, and, they are good for the community, and we are a tourism-oriented valley as well. Thank you.
All right, anyone else in the room that wishes to speak? Anybody online? No, ma'am. All right, I'm gonna give about 10 more seconds in case anybody feels sudden inspiration. Just a couple more. While I'm giving a couple more seconds, if people can silence their phone, that would help. Also, we have a different room set up tonight, than we usually do. And one potential outcome of that is people might not sign in, which can cause stress to our recorder. And so let's have mercy on our volunteer staff and let everybody know that there is a sign in at our corner next to all the photographs.
So would you like me to pass it down?
How would that work for you? Would that work? Sure. Yeah,
I don't have the word for it, but sure.
that would be, yes, thank you very much, Tweety. So we'll pass around if people could just sign in so that we can have a recording of who was at the meeting. It's our meeting deadline, so meeting democrats. Okay. All right, I think that's enough time. With no one else stepping forward or putting their hand up online, I'll go ahead and close the session of public comment. And we will move forward with the items on tonight's agenda, starting with our consent agenda. There were minutes, under consent, there was a invoice report, under consent. And, I don't think there was, there were business licenses, yes, there were business licenses, so, if anyone from council wishes to pull anything out of consent for discussion, this is the time to request that, otherwise, we can take a motion on approving the consent agenda. All right, I will take a motion on the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion on the table from Councilmember Shaw and a second from Councilmember Hoagland, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I think that was an aye with the approvals, yes. Thank you, Councilmember Booth. All right, so that is the consent agenda is approved unanimously 5-0, and will be approved and adopted. Item number 4 is a presentation by Weber State University. This is the presentation on the city name survey and the results of that survey. Councilmember Judy Baker, would you like to introduce our guests?
I'd love to. We are so excited to share the results of the name of the city survey. I'm gonna stand up, so I feel okay. Go by the owl. Oh, let's go stand by the owl. Come on. Gotta have to go. Thank you. This effort began in 2025 when a group of residents that are right here with us, Edith Songer, Victoria Malborn, Lori Barnes, and Susie Wood, all decided to get out there and gather valley-wide input on potential names for our new city. Their work led to 7 separate surveys designed to get broad public input. After approaching the council, the Name the City Advisory Committee was formed. All board meetings were open to the public. We received valuable community input. With guidance from Gretchen Moyson, a PhD in statistics, the committee began to develop a strong survey instrument. One committee member also led a fundraising effort that allowed us to send mailers to every house in the valley. During this time, Kay Hoagland,
That's okay, you can go.
Councilperson Hoagland, coordinated with Dr. Gary Johnson from Weber State University, who is a professor in the political science department, who then recruited Mia Foster, who was a student who just graduated. Congratulations, Mia. And she graduated as student body officer at Weber State. So in her last semester, she took on this task of helping us develop the survey and get it out. So today we are honored to welcome Dr. Gary Johnson and Mia Foster as they present their findings in this incredible community-driven effort. The residents' participation, passion, and pride have led us to this moment and have shaped this moment. And we can't wait to hear the results. There will not be a decision on the name tonight. What this is an information session so we can hear what the residents were thinking. So it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Gary Johnson and Mia Foster. Thank you. There's a microphone. So I think that all will find you there.
Microphones help for people on Zoom.
Oh,
Yes, my voice is pretty loud, but. Okay, good. I typically have a loud voice, but this is always helpful to have a mic, but thank you for that introduction. My name is Mia. I was a Weber State student, and still am technically because I'm finishing off my credits at Weber State, so excited for that. But thank you again for that introduction. I was also the student body president, and I worked on several different surveys for the institution to gather student feedback. So I was very excited for this big project and be a part of this. So we can move on to the next slide. So I just want to introduce kind of why we are here. And it was kind of already said in the introduction, but I corrected my presentation, so I'm just going to say that. So again, this year I was in a state government class for Professor Johnson, and we helped develop a 72-page paper of recommendations to send to Ogden Valley City. Anything from a model city charter, we talked about stars, we talked about water, healthcare, you name it, we talked about it in this large paper. With that said, I was in charge of the model city charter recommendations, and I had an idea of developing a rough draft of survey. That is always great. I love surveys, they're really helpful at Weber State for student input. I did notice that students don't love to take surveys without an incentive, so giving them some free food was always a good option there. So sorry if you guys didn't get any free food. But other than that, so the name committee came up with some ideas. They contacted Professor Johnson. From there, I was recruited on this project, and I was very excited because I worked on many surveys, like I said before, and I fallen in love with the application Qualtrics. Qualtrics is a safe survey site that has tons of different things. It's free to use, and it flags bad responses, and then it also just puts everything on a spreadsheet for us to understand. And for me, I'm not a data analyst. I'm just a student. I'm a political science major. So I'm more of the talking person, not the data person. But in this realm, I was more of the data person. So we can move on to the next slide. Okay, this was survey 1. So we had 2 different surveys that went out to the community. You may have received something in the mail, or you saw it on the website, or you had a neighbor talking to you about how good the survey was and that you needed to take it. So the survey run responses, we had that many, great, like thousands, which is fantastic. And this purpose was just to gauge to see what community members actually wanted. So the first question talked about if you even wanted a name change, and it gave community members the option of suggesting 3 name changes. So with that said, we didn't say, hey, here's a list of names, pick from them yet. That was the second survey. And from there, we had tons of suggestions. This number you see right here, that is how many suggestions we also received. So we had a lot of different names, and we can go on to the next slide. I'll talk more of the data. So if you can't see this, let me know, and we can I can explain it a little bit more. So you can see here, 83% said that they wanted a name change compared to 17%. That is a big difference. So with that said, recommendations to the council is that people want a name change. That's so exciting. What a great time. And if we move down, one of the questions, what I also like that I want to mention too, is that we did not ask for names on the survey. We didn't ask for any huge specific details where we can identify members of the community, other than saying what district do you live in, do you live outside of city boundaries and other things like that. I think that's fantastic because it's giving you community members an option of saying this is anonymous, and I want to give out my true feedback. So here was one of those questions asked in full-time, part-time, property owner, business owners, and other. And then if we slide over, we can see the details. So what I really liked that the full-time was 91%. So that made me feel great. And then this numbers kind of go a little bit down about full-time residents, business owner, property owners. And then the other had a suggestion box on there too to add their input. We can go to the next slide. Okay, from that survey, because the second question showed 3 suggestion boxes, people that can put in the name suggestions that they have. These were the top 7 results that we received, and that we moved on to the second survey to ask community members now, what are you interested in? So Ogden Valley, Eden, Pineview, Liberty, Mountain Valley, Eden Valley, and Pineview Valley. These are not in a specific order. So that we did that on purpose, so we didn't have the top name choice yet. Next slide, please. Okay, survey 2, we had a larger number. We had 2,000 entries for this, which is fantastic. And we wanted to make it known too, if you didn't make it to the first survey, that's completely fine. We still wanted you to develop a second survey. And this purpose now was to go over those 7 different name choices. And this one was a little bit smaller. So this purpose, again, was just really to find out what community members really wanted. We can move on to the next slide. And then here, I want to go down some of the results. So I really love this data piece because it really shows just how balanced the community really was all over of who is in what district and what are they doing. So we had 14%, 17%, 21, 18, 17, 13. They're all really balanced. And when we talked as a committee and showed these results, it was really unique because it said, wow, the community is all over and they had input, so it is kind of a diverse range of information. Move on to the next slide, please. And then here, this document may look really confusing, but the next slide will be even fun because we'll reveal the top 30 naming choices. But this is the information. So on the question, it shows a slider. So 0 to 10, worst to best name choices, something you tolerate, something that you think you would like, and 0 being, I'm not a big fan of that at all. So here are the name choices, and then you can kind of see the results on the average. But we can move on to the next slide, which is, this is the fun slide. And this talks about the top 3 choices. So Eden being the top choice, and that receiving 50% compared to Eden Valley, which was the 40%, and then Pineview and the 30s. So great evidence from this information. We can move on to the next slide as well. And then this is where my time comes in, where I recommend some things to the council, what they should do moving forward. So the clear name choice was Eden. But sometimes in situations like this, it may not please the community, which is completely fine. So this is why a decision is not being made today of what the name change is going to be. With that said, I think this would be a really good option for the name committee to stay alive. And to help with the council members decide what they're going to do next with a formal vote. I want the community members to have an option of saying what they're happy with, what they're not happy about, and what we can do moving forward to commit to that transparency that we had from the beginning. Again, we want to maintain that transparency and community involvement through this process. And this is supposed to be a fun time. Name changes, you commit, name and change are two interesting words. When I was thinking about it, change is scary, but it's exciting. And a name is something we identify with. So two of those things are really important, and we need to make sure community is happy with that. So in that case, this is a great time for rebranding. This is time for innovation, to develop a new logo, a mission statement, and a positive community identifying development. So with that said, getting the schools involved, getting the community involved, having fun campaigns of what you guys are gonna do next. This is supposed to be an exciting time and something that you identify again with, and something that you want to be happy to share. So continue working with your council members and being true to what you guys want in your communities. And we can move on to the next slide. And this last slide is just a special thank you. My time as a political science student, I'm constantly being taught about the wrongs. About the states or the local towns that are doing injustice, that aren't being transparent to the communities, that aren't doing what's right and coming up with random things that they think that you need. In this case, I think a survey is only good if the results are used properly. And here are two results. The council members and the name committee have the dashboard from both surveys with the full responses. On one of the surveys, we talked about different suggestions. There was some really awesome positive feedback from the community that they are able to take this forward. I printed out a couple documents of other recommendations, the survey information, from the questions that we used, from the recommendations that my professor and I had, and so much more. So it takes a village for something like this to happen. So very, very blessed and happy that we were able to do this and maintain transparency for the committee. So thank you to the name committee, thank you to our council members, and a special thank you to my professor, Gary Johnson, for entrusting me in this process. It was a really fun experience. And those are the results. I don't know if I can give some questions.
With our time, we will upload this on our website, so you can look at the data, the numbers, as soon as we can, in the next couple of days, so people can go through that. So we are so grateful, and as I mentioned before, we have, one of our teams was our fundraiser and raised money for our flyers that went home, so the city does not spend a cent. And we had some extra money and in that account, so we wanted to give Mia an honorary. Corporation. Dr. Johnson, Dean Khan, everybody. I just want to know my one. Yes, I gotta say, all right, James, and you're sorry.
We get that.
Oh, they're right first. Yeah. You're right about that. Last few minutes. Hey, one, two, cheese. One, two, one more time. She's probably a nice background.
So, interest on this.
We're gonna. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very much. Okay, all right, this is getting started again, so, once again, I'm just gonna say thank you for having me. Thank you very much, to, Mia and Dr. Johnson for the work they put into that project. Thank you again to our main committee who has worked tirelessly even before they were, committees. And they were just, engaged, concerned residents that wanted to help their valley. So it's an enormous amount of time and effort. And it's not always fun, this public service thing, you get some gruff and some upsets, but everybody's doing it because they're trying to help their neighbors and the valley. So we applaud our neighboring. All right, we're gonna get back into our agenda here with agenda item 5. Agenda item 5 is a finance budget and treatment taxation update. This is a regular occurrence on all of our agendas, whether it's a work session or a city council meeting. Ever since the budget season started, is at the top of each agenda. And this tonight was nothing different. It's up for us to discuss. So there's no presentation about this necessarily. We did in a recent meeting have a whole spreadsheet online. We worked through a number of numbers that is available to the public. But tonight is just an update. And in that, I'm gonna go ahead and recognize that what's going on with our city and our finances and our budget is it changes very quickly. And so if any resident is frustrated about not being sure of what's happening, we understand, and there's a reason for that. Because every time we tell you what something is, it turns out maybe we might be able to do something different, and we're trying to keep all options on the table. So for example, I submitted an article to the Ogden Valley News that stated we are absolutely not going to be a taxing entity this year. We will not be allowed to go through truth and taxation. It was definitive. And about 12 hours after I submitted that article, we found a legal avenue where we might be able to go through truth and taxation, and we might be able to do that. But this is what happens when you try to be as transparent as possible and keep the public updated every single time something changes. Unfortunately, people can get frustrated or confused, but the effort is of pure intent. We want you all to know the latest and greatest information. So please continue to be patient. We should actually know a definitive answer within, I'm gonna estimate, the next couple of weeks. So the update tonight is the same as it was in our work session meeting, as well as the last meeting, which was for 12 hours after I submitted the article. Which is to say that our brilliant councilwoman Hoagland, who is a wonderful attorney in her own right, licensed in the state of Utah, found a very solid legal argument that in state statute, we are in fact a taxing entity. Proven by the fact that we receive taxes, we have installed taxes. Everybody knows about the MET tax, the municipal energy tax that we adopted. So all of these things state that we are a taxing entity on incorporation, with incorporation. The January 1 date for the property tax is an administrative procedure on their way of freezing mill rates, the property tax rate, the assessment, so that they can start their process of whether people are raising taxes and how they're going to work forward. That is an administrative procedure. That is not state law. We are a taxing entity, so we are pursuing a legal decision to make it definitive on whether or not we can continue going with truth in taxation. We are working with the Property Tax Commission on this. They are supportive. We have run through our administrative procedures and requirements through them, getting a decision, an appeal. And now we are putting it forward for a court to make a decision because the tax commission has stated correctly, they don't have the authority to change the procedure or make any other adjustments. And so they have suggested, put it forward to the court, let the court, act on this. So that's where we're at. We are still proceeding on two parallel paths. One path is we are hitting every required deadline that is included in truth in taxation. This is a state mandated procedure, truth in taxation. It's a multi-month process. It is highly regulated by the state of all the hoops you have to jump through if you wish to adjust your tax rates. We are hitting every deadline and requirement of that procedure, regardless of not knowing whether or not we'll be able to complete it. That's up to the court to decide. But we're making sure that if they say yes, we've hit every single deadline. At the same time, we also have requirements that are state mandated if you're not going through truth in taxation, and we're hitting those as well. So we look forward to having a definitive answer. We will share it with you as soon as we receive it on which path we will finally get to drop off and proceed with. I really hope it's the one where we get to go through truth in taxation and lay out everything highly transparent. It has a level of equity in it that the other avenue does not. Property taxes have built-in relief systems and things like that, which fees do not incorporate. There are a number of things we could talk about in terms of why it is preferable to raise the revenue via property tax versus other legal avenues. Either way, both come out of your pocket. So I can state for myself, I prefer the fairest and most clear, transparent route. It's still coming out of your pocket. If we are not able to go through truth in taxation this year, we have another budget, we have to raise the revenues, we have to slash expenses. It's a route we don't want to take. It's much more painful for everyone, both residents and city council and everything. But we will do it because we'll have to. By law, we have to balance the budget. And we will go through truth in taxation next year. By not doing it this year, we're just delaying the inevitable. We still have a budget to balance. The budget was not set on anything extraneous. It was a base budget of what are the expenses and how do we make up that revenue shortfall. So, it's not that we're raising revenue to build a city hall or anything. It's very much plow the roads, fix a couple of roads, not even all the roads, fix a couple of roads each year, things like that. So if not this year, then next year, but preferably, let's get it done. We launched, let's fix our budget and let's proceed forward as a fully functioning city. So that is the update, unless Councilmember Cutler wants to add anything, as she is the one that found the legal arguers.
And she knows I talk a lot too, so I will defer. You did a good job.
Thank you. I am not alert that there's anything I said that's slightly incorrect, but the base is there. We are still on two parallel paths. We have requested a judgment by the court, and we will probably hear back in the next couple of weeks. And if we are not able to go through truth in taxation by law, we will have a budget to adopt by the end of June. If we are able to go through truth in taxation, that process extends further. It's a multi-month process. In both of those scenarios, there are public hearings and all information will be sent out to the public to have them come in and go line by line. All right, so that's the update. Next on the agenda is agenda item 6. Resolution, we do not have a number for this resolution. Resolution 2026 at the moment XX, this is the intern program. We have discussed this program in multiple meetings. And it is on the agenda tonight for potential action. We will discuss and we can potentially adopt, deny, or table this resolution. I will have Councilmember Hoagland introduce it for the public and then we can proceed.
Okay, very briefly, we recognize that we need some help. And, the brilliant student from Weaver State just showed we can use some help from student interns. And we realized we would love to have that this summer. There's a ton of work to be done. For example, if we do name change, there's a lot of administrative work to go through, change the banks, change all types of things. There will be cascades of work. Our recorder, who's all volunteer, needs assistance in filing and documenting the many papers we throw off. And that's just a small sample of the kind of work we could use interns for. Therefore, we put together a pilot, an internship pilot program that would allow us to get volunteer interns, independent contractor interns that we do under an agreement. And also we're working with Weaver State to use their internship program. So we're gonna try this hopefully for a year and then make adjustments and learn from it and then refine it and adopt it as a formal ongoing program. I'm going to recuse myself from any vote or any further discussion on this because my husband and I are happily donating to the city some money to help fund an internship program, along with some other charitable funds that have already been donated. So because I have a personal interest, I'm going to end my involvement and let my brothers and sisters on the council carry this forward.
All right, any further discussion needed? I know we've talked about it at board meetings. If there are no further questions, we can go ahead and have a motion.
I move we approve resolution 2026 dash, did we get a number for it?
Yeah, not at the moment, the intern program resolution.
The intern program.
We have a motion on the table from Councilmember Hickman. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second by Councilmember Shaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have the motion to pass and adopt resolution 2026, XX, the intern program, will get numbered after the fact, has been approved and will advance forward. It was a vote of 4-0, which was unanimous with one council member recusing themselves from the vote. All right, agenda item number 7, resolution 2026, again, soon to be numbered, XX. Interlocal agreement enabling Weaver County Sheriff to process civil citations. Did we? Yep, fantastic. I'm gonna have Councilmember Jillian Baker introduce this item. Councilmember Jillian Baker oversees the law enforcement portfolio, so she's been working on this item.
In conjunction with Lieutenant Prager, who's here, who is in the back there. We have an agreement with Washington Terrace to process all of our offenses up here in the valley for the court system. When Officer Cragen, or Lieutenant Cragen, suggested we look at Weaver County's sheriff to process them civilly and through a different process in the sheriff's office. So when we looked into it, we talked with everybody at Washington Terrace because we have an agreement with them. We talked with the lieutenant and we felt that this would be best for us as a city and our residents to have parking tickets processed through the civil court as opposed to the criminal court. It is a little difference in the required documentation need. So when it's criminal, there's a higher bar. You have to prove who's driving the car if it's a parking ticket. Civilly, the bar is only lower and they'll accept the owner of the vehicle as opposed to proving who drove it. So I think it'll be a little easier for us. They can also fold in, and we're gonna introduce next our code enforcement officer. So we can fold in our code enforcement if they do tickets with the sheriff. So we believe it is a little more money for the city, but follow up on it. And it's a little better for the citations. So we have a MOU, it is just pending, I believe, Lieutenant Weaver County's attorneys are looking at it?
Yes, but I'll follow up with them tomorrow.
Yes, so it's just pending their approval for our MOU, but it's been approved through our attorney. It's the same agreement Huntsville has too. Huntsville does the same thing with their parking ticket, so I think it'll be an easy fix.
And again, enforcement of these citations is not about trying to get revenue. This is about compliance. And if we are able to enforce them civilly and therefore have a lower threshold to be able to enforce them, then we will get more compliance. And so that is the outcome we're looking for. All right, if there are no further questions, any further questions from council members? If not, I will call for a motion on resolution 2026XX. Soon to be numbered, it is the interlocal agreement enabling Weaver County Sheriff to process the civil citations.
I move that we adopt resolution 2026-XX, the interlocal agreement enabling Weaver County Sheriff to process our civil citations.
All right, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion to adopt from Councilmember Billy Baker and a second from Councilmember Hoagland. This is a resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Here we go. Any opposed? All right, the resolution for an interlocal agreement with Weaver County Sheriff for civil citations has been approved and adopted unanimously 5-0. All right, agenda item 8, resolution 2026-XX, soon to be numbered, code enforcement, SOP, standard operating procedures. So, would you like to follow up?
Absolutely. We are pleased to share that the city has contracted with Speaking Codes Consultants. They will be doing our building permits along with our code enforcement services. My Bach will serve as our code enforcement officer. Officer Bach brings a strong and well-rounded background to this role, including experience as a code enforcement officer in 2 previous municipalities. Prior service as a correction officer and professional work as a paralegal. Her diverse experience will support our ongoing efforts to uphold our municipal codes in a manner that's consistent, fair, and responsive to the needs of our community. So it's my honor to welcome Code Enforcement Officer Rayanne Bott to our team. Rayanne, please come up. Part of the standard operational procedures were in the resolution that I had numbered 2026-28.
Perfect.
And that shows us our standard operating procedures and our priorities for our valley. So working with Tyler from Beacon and Rayanne to look at this, we are excited to move forward and help our community with safety, integrity, and quality of life in our city.
Fantastic.
So Rayanne, welcome to the team.
Thank you guys. I am always looking for conversations. I think with being a code enforcement kind of being new to the whole city. I think it's very important for the education part. You know, I will always have honest conversations with any resident. I was asked today just to come and demonstrate what my performance is going to look like. I won't always be wearing my vest. It's just part of my safety equipment that I wear when I'm out in the field. I normally have a radio in this pouch. And then I do have some other safety items that I do wear. I also do, just so you know, I carry Narcan. I'm a firm believer in administering that at any time you possibly can, or donate result of doing that. And I don't care how much time it takes. I'm always willing to issue that. I am excited to work with Weaver County Sheriffs again. I work with them in Weaver County, and then the city I also work in is Garland, with where I'm dispatch. So once again, I'll be just another number and Weaver Dispatch as well. But I'm very excited to be up here, and if you guys have any questions afterwards, I'm gonna be around for a while to take questions, and then we'll be here I think for the next city council meetings. I will be attending on a regular basis, so you can always let me know about this. But yeah, this is basically going to be a uniform. I will have another badge that is for this area, not the badge of this one. This is from the other department that I work for. Do you guys have any questions for me right at this moment?
This is terrific.
Yeah, but
Oh, she's getting a picture for a paper. All the information to contact Rayanne.
we're gonna hear from Councilmember Doing.
All the information to contact Rayanne, our code enforcement officer, to make a citizen's complaint is gonna be on the website under departments, I believe, and then it says code enforcement.
Do you want to bring it up or no?
Yes, please, if you can. So we have a webpage that we're ready to go live. And that's how you would contact Rayanne. Our priorities for our city are health and safety come first. Short-term rental compliance is second, because that's been the community's request. And third is the Title V, which is our public health safety, nuisance, property maintenance, and noise violations. So we had to prioritize because we only have 15 hours a week right now, Rayanne. So here's our page. You have a link to the municipal code at the top. You have the citizen complaint form that will go to an email that Rayanne gets and what I get. And then at the bottom there, Kathy, it goes.
Just a message you can describe your complaints and anything you want me to know.
Good. And then what's the very bottom little?
Just to confirm, I confirm the information.
Oh,
Sure.
gotcha. So that's how we're gonna start. We're gonna grow and it's gonna get better, but right now we have a mechanism in place to contact, and we're gonna start with 15 hours a week and.
I'm gonna work very efficiently.
Yes.
I just want you also know, like, this is gonna be my voice no winter. You sound all of these, so I don't normally talk like that anymore.
Does that cover Dyer's Road as well?
It's our third priority, yes, it's on there, and it is a noxious weed that is part of our municipal code. And so, yes, but we're gonna prioritize this, so if you
Kelly is asking which you have, if that's.
yes, submit them, we'll do our best to prioritize health, safety, you know.
And I do have a courtesy notice that I will be attaching to your door. If you need to mow or take care of something. So that's how I'm gonna initially start with that education. Ordinance will be on the back. So if you get a courtesy notification on your door, it just takes a few minutes, I log it. And then that is to just remind you, I know it's grown in your crop, but it doesn't go along with the weeds and the crops, and there's a lot of things that weeds go into. So for the things that are not a priority, you will give the courtesy notices. I'd love to start with courtesy notices, because if I can get compliance to that, that's my goal. And like she said, health and safety is the primary concern of code enforcement. So I'm studying personal. I enforce the code that is for the city, and we go through the process. The compliance level and how we reach that is entirely up to you.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Thank you, Rayanne, we're happy to have you.
So it looks like, you'll be made famous, or your picture will probably be in the paper. And for everyone that's listening online as well as in the room, please, when you see Rayanne out there, say hi, be courteous. There are plenty of people that make things hard, for people doing their job, and so we could be the people who go out and say, smile and say, thanks for doing it. Her whole role and the money we're spending on that role is to create a better living environment here in the valley for everyone. So we'll keep that in mind. And if there's anything that upsets you, please come to city council rather than getting argumentative with our employees. Come straight to us for us to fix. I would appreciate that. All right, back to the resolution itself. We should adopt it or at least put it up for action. So if there's no further discussion on that topic, I will entertain a motion.
I will move to adopt resolution 2026-28, a code enforcement SOP.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion for adoption by Councilmember Hoagland and a second by Councilmember Hickman.
I want to make just one comment. This is one of the areas where our budget restrictions really count. We, on our skeletal budget, which we will have to go if we are not committed to go through truth in taxation, she will have very limited hours. One of our first priorities with any additional tax money will be to increase her hours. And to me, this is all about the wonderful fact of being a city now where we need to care for our valley and care for our residents.
All right, if there's no further discussion, we have a motion and a second on the table. It is a resolution, so all in favor?
Aye.
Nope, we need to let- There we go, there you go. All right, any opposed? All right, the resolution 2026-28 code enforcement SOP passes unanimously with a 5-0 vote. Agenda item 9, ordinance, not a resolution, ordinance 2026-XX, the building development excavation permit fee revision. We have seen this on our agenda a few times. There was a minor revision that was necessary. It is open for discussion and then a potential action of adoption, denial, or tabling. I'm gonna have Councilmember Hickman present this one.
Kathy, can you pull it up on the screen, please?
Robin is on the phone for this, on his line, she's doing this.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Robin's on my.
Yeah.
So should we go, or we good?
No, go ahead and pull up the draft. So in work session yesterday, the city council looked at the draft changes to our permit fee schedule. And we agreed that they made sense except for one section, and that section was how to deal with conditional use permits, variances and the like. And this is the numbers that we looked at. Page down, please, Kathy. Down. Oh, so up just a tissue. Conditional use permit, variance and appeal. So if you notice, and I'm sure everyone's looking at it, went from $650 to $4,250 for a conditional use permit. So the way those numbers were calculated, and Brian Carver's in the audience, and he can give the details if we need them, is that was basically an average of what we thought it would cost over time for our planning department or permitting department to actually process somebody coming for, in this case, a conditional use permit or a variance or whatever. Those numbers are pretty big. And so we asked Brian to come back to us with an alternative, and what Brian came back to us with was an example of sort of a task order basis. I'm gonna pick on Blaine Vernon because he's my favorite guy that I use as an example. So Blaine comes to us and wants a variance, and instead of saying, you betcha, turn over $6,500, we will enter into a task with you and it will be based on the actual time, labor costs of the planning department or the building department to try to right size it. So small variances don't cost a lot and big ones might. Brian, did you send those documents to Kathy?
Yes, I did.
Kathy, can you pull up the 3 documents that Brian sent?
Which one do you want first?
Brian, that's up to you.
How about the conditional use permit, the CUP?
I see an appeal of CUP.
So here's on council, this is what we talked about yesterday, that an alternative to the blanket costs. So don't read the whole thing, Brian, but let's go down through it.
So this is this would be a task order between JEV engineers and the city, allowing for the review process of these applications, and then the city fee structure would be modified so that the applicant would pay the city, and JEV would be reimbursed by the city for their time. So if you want to scroll down a little bit more to the table itself, So these are the hours that, based on other projects that we've done with similar communities where we provide planning services, these are kind of an estimate of the average hours for separate tasks within these application review processes. And then the billable cost that we charge by staff positions involved in that review. These are also intentionally a little inflated just for the purpose of making sure that the costs are covered, and then if there is an overpayment or we find that the actual hours spent do not add up to this original estimate, then either once the fee is finalized and paid, it would be reduced, or any overpayment balance would be refunded to the applicant.
And when you mean overinflated, you meant the hours, not the hourly rate.
Yeah, that's correct. The number of hours necessary to complete this task are
They're rounded up.
they're rounded up. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So for example, if Langburn, they come for a conditional use permit to make a, I don't know, whatever you wanna do, claim. And you went to our building department, the building department went to planner said, here you go, this is the estimate of what it would take. And you would enter into contract with the city to do that, is how this would work.
So what I'm hearing is rather than a flat rate, since I was at Wayside.
What you're hearing is not a flat rate.
Not a flat rate, it's on a case by case basis, and everything is published ahead of time, people can know what to expect. If they have a big project, it'll be higher, if it'll be a little project, it could be lower, but the numbers are all published.
Right, these three documents would be published as part of our adopted fee schedule.
Adoption of the ordinance tonight.
Right.
Okay. Fantastic.
We do have a question in the audience that I think we should take.
Do I have one more council member who would like to make that happen? We're gonna say yes. We will hear from Mr. Dunleavy.
Yeah, Shane Dunleavy, Green Valley Opportunity Wolf Creek. Is there any cap to this?
You propose a cap?
In the past, we've not listed a cap, but I don't see what for the purpose of transparency, these types of fees, if they maxed out at this estimate, they would be considerably higher than what comparative communities around this area are charging for these types of applications. However, the intent with this task order is to hold the city harmless for these costs, so that you are not under collecting from an applicant and then overpaying to a consultant to do the reviewing. And simply because of that consultant and city relationship, it costs more than it would if the city were able to underwrite these costs by providing these services themselves.
Can I ask a question here?
Sure.
So there were numbers in red that were crossed out. If I'm guessing that they were suggested with some data behind them as this is a guesstimate or whatnot, would that be an appropriate number to say not to exceed this?
Yeah, it could be very appropriate to set a not to exceed limit. Yeah.
Well,
Is there any analytics behind that, or you?
I mean,
Let's go.
there might
Yeah,
be.
you switch over to the original document.
I could ask really.
Let's not wing it here.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we do this right.
hold on, Councilmember Mayor, question.
I did, because if we're basing this on time for the project, it should be based on time for the project. So should we cap it? Or should we say, I like the statement, it's a smaller project, you don't pay as much if the latest project to do, because it's staff time, I think we're trying to. Do I understand that, Francis?
I do,
Yes.
I'm wondering if, I'm not sure the basis of the audience's comment. My question would simply be, what if there's a discrepancy? What if all of a sudden there's some hours being attributed that the applicant says, that can't be right. So do we have a standing operating procedure when there's a discrepancy?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Yes, Councilmember Hogan.
As with any task order, or billable matter that's billable by the hours, number one, I assume, the person in JUB will do it fractional hours.
Yes.
You have the system all established. And also, if they challenge the hours, the legitimacy of the hours, in due course, we'd actually review that. I do think if we put a cap on it advantages those people who are asking for a lot of work for conditional use. And so I think that's proportionate. The smaller guy, the Blaine Vernon with his slippery side park that he wants to put in his front yard for a variance, he'll get to pay the freight for that. If someone has a really big project, they pay the freight. Also, over time, some of this work will be brought in-house and the cost will be reduced.
Any further discussion?
The mechanism, if we choose to adopt this, would be if we change the first document essentially. We would strike conditional use, variance application, and appeal administrative land use decision. Correct, Brian?
Zoning map.
We could strike the dollar amounts for the permit review and replace them with at cost or a similar statement.
Under conditional use and variance and appeal, or only conditional use? Where are we?
Well, yeah, yes, I mean, I'd recommend that we do this for conditional use, variance application, appeals of administrative land use decisions, and zoning amendments.
Okay, and the language would be something like at cost according to a task order. What language should we use?
Yeah, I think that would be.
So that, I think we need to nail down that language before we cause an action happen. But I could say, is it enough to simply say see fee scheduled below?
I'm okay with that. It would be the three. There are three versions that Brian sent to us. So it would be see the table below, or the fee schedule below, whatever language we choose, and we would strike those dollars. Some mechanism like that.
That's not Michelle.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? No, I was, did we decide whether there was a cap or not? It sounds like we decided not, but I just wanted.
We didn't decide anything. Two council members, if I can paraphrase and tell me if I get it wrong, but two council members seem to express an interest in not having it, that it be based off of the time set per project. And that if there is any discrepancy, if there's anybody who wishes to appeal a bill or talking, that the council would take that. Did I get that right? Councilmember Hogan.
I just have a friendly question to Councilman Hickman. Is it critical to adopt this tonight, or would you feel better taking some time to present a final document?
It is critical that we adopt the building permit side of this. We've been working on this for over a month. So if we chose not to adopt these three changes, I would recommend we keep conditional use, variance, and appeals as was, and zoning map as was, and adopt it back to 650, 750, 500, and 750.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Councilmember Michelle, and like share your hand up, and then I want to make a clarification.
You keep referencing three changes.
There's
Isn't that four?
Well, no, I apologize. I had the variance is not one that I would recommend a final change to. We couldn't come up with it.
So the recommended changes are to conditional use permit, appeal of administrative land use decision, and zoning map.
Yes, that's correct.
What do you recommend we do with the fourth?
With variances, I would recommend leaving it as previously developed.
At 750 or 6,500?
At 750.
Okay. That's the recommendation of the planner.
Okay, I just wanna clarify, so from what I'm hearing, the only question that needs to be answered to create an action on this tonight is the language that would go there.
Yes,
Okay,
assuming that three of us want to adopt this.
yes, but we need language no matter what.
Right, I am not a lawyer, I don't have the language in my. So it would be, what are we calling these, Brian? Task orders, fee schedules, what are we calling them?
Hourly.
Yeah, I would say
No.
task orders for
Hourly.
hourly costs.
Rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, task order is an engineering term we've become used to, but for public. These would be at hourly rates.
So the language we would put in here is what?
Well, I'm. Okay. Would it be harmful to adopt all except the final on these three items, which are variances? No, it's conditional uses, zoning maps, zoning changes. And what's the third?
Zoning map, appeal, and conditional are the three that probably suggested
And
changes.
are those imminent, like in the next 2 weeks?
We
I-
permit one, which important.
Yeah.
I have no knowledge from the planning or permitting department that those need to be changed today. They were added in the attempt to get one ordinance done and update. Brian, do they need to be updated today?
No,
So,
we're not accepting conditional use permit applications, we're not accepting variance or.
so I suggest we don't do this today, we adopt. The change would be. Go back to the original dollar figure, 650, 750, 500, and 750, and adopt this. Pull up the document, please, Kathy, that squirrely eyeballs at me.
So
The one with the red on it?
Adopt, there's other changes in it.
But so I just want to clarify though, because if it is not time sensitive and we table it tonight,
There-
we will, I'm sure we will be having a special meeting, seeing as that seems to be the way things are going. And it can be on the next agenda with the legal language included.
I'm okay with that too, this is a pitfall, just get this thing done, but if we delay it for another 2 weeks. I don't care, but we are in the process of accepting permit applications now, so the rest of this document relates to the building permits. We're accepting now, and that's where most of the changes were.
So if we were to make a motion to adopt with the exceptions of these three items. Would that satisfy the immediate need?
Yes,
Okay, and then we can come back and we get the right language for those three items, okay.
So hold on, I want to make again clarification. So the potential of a motion would be to adopt except for those three items rather than just having a placeholder that was previously there.
Because we're not in favor of placeholder,
So
and also there's not,
document.
there's not imminent. Action on any of those three items according to our plan.
What would-
So we would adopt it and leave, a placeholder to be added within a week or so, but in the meantime. We're doing building permits, we need to get that.
Understood. I want to know for the document that we will then be putting up on the website, are we putting an X on that line? Are we putting a TBD on that
No,
line?
we could do reserved.
these numbers get put into Rand's here, but Robin is not here, they go into our permit on City Inspect. That's where the numbers will show up for when Blaine gets onto City Inspect and does his building permit. Now, this also will get published eventually as an ordinance, and so we've got to have it correct in the publish of the ordinance.
And there is precedent for it,
Councilmember Shaw?
Are people seeing this now?
Saying what?
When they go on a city inspect, are they seeing these?
Yes, when you go to City Inspect right now to get a building permit, you see fees.
Are you seeing 650?
Right.
Seven,
Well, there's no conditional use permit capability yet. We were trying to get ahead of the ball on that.
are they seeing the other fees?
Yes,
They're seeing the other fees, except for these
As far as I know, yes, I am not in charge of building permitting, so I have not looked.
Let me access this. If you give me a few minutes, I can access this.
Alright. Is the fees that you have passed are in the building fee schedule?
They are, the ones that we previously passed are in the building permit schedule, some of these change some of those. These three that Ryan provided would update them as well, but we don't have the ability yet to accept conditional use permits, so we're trying to get over that.
May I ask, our planner and council member, what would you prefer to do? Pass with the three exceptions or defer the whole thing for, undoubtedly we'll have another voting meeting in a week?
I am going to suggest we table this thing. And I will have our planner, our engineer, and our permit team get one final updated. Not mess with this thing again, copy to us at the next time we meet to vote. How about we do that?
Done. Thanks for me. Everybody in agreement? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and table agenda item 9. You can. I don't believe so when everybody's in agreement. If you wish, you can have it to just be one. Chance. Well, we have an overwhelming majority, that's all. So we're tabling agenda item 9, the ordinance regarding some revisions to the building development excavation permit fee. With the expectation to bring it back for final adoption or at least action, at the very next available action meeting. City council meeting. Moving to agenda item 10, ordinance 2026-XX, chapter 108-7, we're into land use now, supplementary and qualifying regulations. So this is an ordinance because it is a land use code. It is a chapter, which is a subsection of a greater title. 108 is under the title of standards. This is for supplementary and qualifying regulations. We will have time for discussion and then potential action of adoption, denial, or consent. All right, for the council, you pull up your document. Any discussion we had on this? Jeff does.
We did not review it yesterday in work session. We acknowledged it existed and that we would get to it today.
All right, so if we want to pull that up, you have access to the file within the Idaho Planning Commission and then the document. Review. Our superhero IT director, and then it is chapter 108-7 supplementary and qualifying regulations. So we have not yet had city council discuss this. We will go over the comments and questions. We have our planner here to answer and make any necessary changes to hopefully get through it.
Yeah. So in our discussion yesterday, we acknowledged that we hadn't yet reviewed it. But there were some comments from some of us on council. Most of the comments were in the addition that was forwarded to us by the planning commission, still retain comments from the transition team. There's some things in here that seem to be duplicative of some of our other code that we wanted to discuss. And Tia's got one, and so that's where we ended work session yesterday on this subject.
All right, well, so it has comments in there, which is not how it's been before, but with the transition team as well as the planning commission, so I'm not sure whether those comments have been resolved. Brian, the first comments of substance are about whether to keep or change the 0 setback in the language. What got forwarded from the planning commission, so the comments are still there. Page 2. Highlighted in blue. So where the city's development standards allow a 0 front yard setback, projections into private street right of way may be permitted when the following limitations, requirements, and standards are met.
Yeah, the planning commission did not make any changes regarding the 0 setback.
Okay. In other zones, we have setback requirements for various buildings. This, I believe what we're talking about are multifamily housing, condominiums, commercial structures. So this is whether or not they can go straight up to the street, is that correct?
Correct, and then whether or not any architectural features such as bay windows, balconies, canopies, railings, things like that, are allowed to project past the setback.
So my recommendation would be to impose setbacks, and I imagine we have standard setbacks in other zones, so. Offhand, do you happen to know what the setbacks are, and especially for something like maybe even. Some of our commercial, or because these are large buildings, these are not private homes, these are multifamily homes.
So in the residential zones, AB3, FV3, HR, or RE15, there's a front setback requirement for all structures. In the commercial zones, I believe they allow for 0 setbacks in certain instances, and then certainly in the old form-based code that has been abandoned, that actually encouraged 0 setbacks in many instances. So.
Okay. Any comment from council? My recommendation is not to have a 0 setback.
Yeah, I'm just listening at Terry Zimmer here, who's on the commission.
Yes.
She said eliminate a 0 setback.
So my understanding, the comments from everybody previous are still there, but she's on the commission recommended this forward and they did not change that range. So she might have the comment, but the commission as a whole recommended no change. Is there a standard, Brian, that you see in other municipalities for setback?
I mean, yeah, typically in residential, single family, residential in particular, there are setbacks, even for, in predominantly residential zones, even, multifamily would still be presented with a setback. It's more intensive uses areas like commercial zones, multi-use districts where 0 setbacks are more common, because oftentimes you'll just have a street, a sidewalk, and then building frontage, in order to kind of create that more pedestrian oriented village or
so this is a chapter within a standard. Is it fair to say that depending on the zone that this particular application is being applied to, would that automatically set that standard for that setback? Or is it no matter what the zone, if it's multifamily condominium, which there are certain zones that allow that, it would be recommended that there's no zone. This is a chapter within a standard, not necessarily specifically zoned.
I would agree to follow that for the zone it's in.
What this states is that if a 0 setback is allowed by zone, then projections into that setback, architectural projections into that setback, it will be managed as follows. And so it does not prescribe that.
So it doesn't give to condominiums and multifamily housing 0 setback within a zone that has other setbacks stated. Okay.
Correct.
So it's just if the zone allows 0 setback, they would be allowed to.
Yes.
We're good. Do we have any?
In the commercial, things like that, which we have not adopted yet. Okay, so but in the residential zones, we have setbacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, all uses have setbacks in residential.
anybody have any further questions on that comment specifically? So it really goes back to the zone itself.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the language says where the development standards allow a 0 front yard setback, then this is how projections will be managed.
all right, next comment was already removed, and then. Okay, does any council member have something they specifically want to talk about? We can.
Well, I put one in.
Okay.
Can I make a generic comment?
Councilmember Hickman.
I would suggest that we direct our planner to remove all comments that are not from us.
Right.
For example, Trina
Trina White.
White, Terry Zinger, et cetera, to clean this thing up. Because
Yeah,
eventually, we hope to have a document we can go to agree to.
For the record, I will state that the comments were there, so they could be. Oh, I think you just took out everything.
I didn't mean to do that, I just did it, I don't.
Councilmember Shaw.
we'll see.
The comments have been left in, and this is the case, the planning commission was able to see all the comments from the transition team and take them under advisement.
And they forwarded them all to us
Yes.
for whatever
We
reason.
just wanted to point that out, yes, ma'am.
That being said, I don't think this farm board is drafting. They have those, but what I would, that a lot of this is technical planning stuff. And other than what we are discussing today, can we ask our planner to come back with clean recommended ordinance for us?
So we're tabling this?
Well, hold on, planners will advise, but they don't set policy, that's the job of the council, so.
Exactly, but I would ask that he advise us with his recommendation.
If you make it clean, I just worry that the controversial items get unhighlighted and so therefore easier to overlook.
May I,
Yes.
the sentence I was going to add to the end of my statement was, as we go down through it,
Yeah.
take out Trina White, Terry Zanger. I was not allowed to add my final sentence to that. So I don't suggest you go in right now and take them all out. As it goes through, let's take them out.
Yeah, I can't.
So we have a final version that's clean.
I see a Tia Shaw comment, why take out whenever it is unsightly and in public view?
Right,
See a Kay Hoagland comment. Why document it? It is better to leave this as simple health hazards because we don't know what documented it is.
that's what I'm saying.
That's what the bottom of page 6.
So are we all on the bottom of page 8?
Yep.
Okay, I have one back up at page 3 when
Where
we're,
was mine?
Yours was just theirs.
so let's
These pages.
let's go to 8 and I've got one on 3. There's no comment there, I've got a question.
At the bottom of page 8, we have 2 council member comments. And Diaz is why are we striking this out? Because it's been a strikeout, and Councilmember Hoagland was on the document. We resolve this.
Should we go to mine?
Sure.
Okay,
What is your?
I'm trying to find it.
It's at page, it's on 8.
Is this?
It's at the second line underneath, section 108-7-6, garbage, junk and weeds unlawful.
Yes, whenever it is unsightly and in public view was taken out, and I'm wondering why that was taken out. If it's not in public view. I just don't know why they took that out. I have a neighbor who has a Jeep chassis for a lawn. No, and it's seriously the decoration they put on their barn was a Jeep chassis. Would that be against the code?
Well, if you look below it to the language that they have added, it says, I'm gonna skip over some of it, but it goes right to where it creates a documented health hazard, fire hazard, safety hazard, or where it constitutes a public nuisance as defined by this code. Cosmetic appearance alone shall not constitute a violation. So just because I may think something is attractive and someone else may not, that alone is not a violation.
How do you resolve that?
Does it create a health hazard, a fire hazard, safety hazard, or
A public nuisance.
public nuisance?
That's how you resolve it.
That's how, is whether or not. Our goal is people get to do with their property what they wish, as long as they are not harming anyone else.
Yes, and so why take out whenever it is unsightly and in public view?
Because that's,
Standards.
Yeah, I think that whenever it is unsightly, well,
Right, if it wasn't in public view and it's not a hazard, then
by taking it out, we become silent on an issue, that the right goes to the property owner. So we're trying to say, the most important thing is it creating a health, safety hazard or a nuisance? Yes, sir.
I submit we don't know why they took it out. Because they're not here unless Brian can explain why. But, so the question to me is the new language sufficient enough? I personally think the new language is sufficient.
I like it too.
But Tia, we can't answer that question because none of them are here to tell us why they took it
well,
out.
I just want, I mean. Okay, the cosmetic appearance alone shall not constitute a violation, because there are people that are, restoring cars and they're in their yard and there are people that are using things for decoration. That somebody might think is nor spreader that I've seen in a yard.
We're gonna go Hoagland first and then Hoagland second, yes,
I do think it's wise to take out this
the top
in
section.
public view issue, because you would still have a health hazard that was not necessarily visible to the public. That you'd still want to be able to remove garbage, junk, etc. Some person could have in their backyard a junk pile that no one sees, but it's full of vermin, rats and bad things. So I think that's why the public viewed it, how you took it out.
I mean, the council member.
Yeah, the way I interpret this is if I had an old Jeep as my flower bed, I could have an old Jeep as my flower bed, unless there's a health hazard, a fire hazard, or a safety hazard. So that young lady right over there would walk in, go. I don't see a health hazard, I don't see a fire hazard, I don't see a safety hazard, it's a pretty cool Jeep, blah, blah,
I would check to make sure it wasn't leaking you fluid.
Yeah, there's no fluids leaking out of it, but other than that, knock yourself out.
Make sure that it wasn't, like something that someone's gonna run into. There's the right of ways.
We're gonna go right back in, because we got a lot of language to get through, but thank you. So, yes, we're looking at very simple health, safety hazards and public nuisance. If it's not that, people have rights to do with their property. So that explained that comment. The next on that same page is at the very last line on that same page, of page 8. Councilmember Hoagland has a comment about the word documented.
Maybe one more we should.
So why documented, quote documented, it is better to leave this is her comment, it is better to leave this as simple quote health hazards because we don't know what quote documented is. So I'm great with taking the word out, doesn't bother me, I think it still says the same thing, so.
I also highlighted that and thought it should be taken.
Okay,
Take it out.
that's, there we go, 3 people.
Alright.
So if we can delete the word documented, please, Brian. Then there was a request by Councilmember Hickman to go back up to page 3.
There is a section in the 10874 area of accessory buildings. Do these conflict with what we said in other zones, Jamie?
Hold on one second. Page 2, section 108-7-3, bedroom requirement.
Well, my version has it on what I'm looking at is 10874 accessory building. There was a bunch of changes.
Okay, that's on my version of page 4, I don't know why we have versions, okay.
Because of these freaking computers, that's why we got with this yesterday.
Alright, that's, okay, 108-7-4, area of accessory.
Do these in any way conflict with our other zones, Brian?
No.
Brian said no. Okay.
Okay, that question is asked and answered. Let's move down again after 8 and move to. Next comment from a council member. Is it Hickman? John Hickman.
Yeah, my version is not showing any of the comments. That's what
So page 12, which has section 108-7-8 setbacks. Guys, we have side comments going on that confuse the owl, people online have trouble hearing. So section 108-7-8 setbacks for animals and fowl, this is the last paragraph on page 12. And Councilmember Hickman has a comment that says, we went to great lengths to get the verbiage right in 83, one of your favorite, 104-2-4, and by reference to that in other residential zones. Brian, make sure this doesn't conflict with what we've already approved. Brian, does conflict.
I did not get that comparison done.
Okay, so the question is still out.
And I suspect it does. If you go to sub 2 in residential zones where animal keeping, whatever that is, because we haven't defined animal keeping anywhere else. Animal enclosure shall be located at least 40 feet. We have different setbacks in 83, FE3, F5, and F40, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
So
I've written a note at the bottom of page 12, John Hickman's comment on 108-7-8 needs to be addressed. Underneath that, the next comment was by me after doing some research. This seems pretty standard some places, and I was answering a question from a transition team member.
Yeah, it sure is.
Mr. Hickman says we don't, this is now the very next page.
we're on 7-9. We don't have a city board of health. We have a ILA with Weaver Norfolk County, so that needs to be changed. Or MOU, whatever we have.
They're our district. Yeah.
Alright, and then the next one underneath that,
What about 2 years in water? So the way a single lot residential development, what is that? Ryan, what's a single lot residential
A
development?
single one residential building.
Is that Ron, is that Langburn trying to build his house on 8600?
Yeah,
And so he would be using a well?
yes.
Okay, so the way it reads is he's required to have a well served letter, and yet it's impossible for him to get one because he's gonna drill a well, is my point.
Oh, so you can't get it unless.
so you
It's
can.
not served by a water service.
Got alternates.
Oh, no,
What's that?
is
As
there,
alternates.
Well, it includes an approved well permit as an alternative to.
Yeah.
a well service.
That's all it's gotta do?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
so disregard
Disregard, thank you.
Hickman's second comment, but we do need the language changed from City Board of Health to Weaver Morgan County. Board of Health. Did you wish you had it? Councilmember Hill?
It was my point then.
Okay.
Address of.
I don't, that one didn't get adjusted. There was a comment about how the PRED code was deleted over the past years, and so we would need to make a change there, that's in the code from old language. We don't have a PRED code. If we are intending to do a master development overlay zone, which I've heard talked about, we could exchange that PRED for master development overlay. And then we should make sure we write one.
I recommend that we do that, and that's on the list of things for the planning commission to address. I think we're all in agreement that it's not.
Okay, so the comment about exchanging PRED should be exchanged for master development overlay zone, MDOZ.
Can we do that because we can vote?
Yes, just like we have mention of TDRs, but we do not have TDR words. Because it's placed on a to-do list. Alright. After that, we have a Don Hickman. This WCWCD. Brief that's in December about the landscape and grass program for new developments, does this comply with that? Are you talking about the one where the city has to adopt it in order to get? Yeah, so we have to adopt that, that's not, it doesn't come standard.
Well, I'm guessing no.
No,
Okay.
sorry, yeah, I'll let Brian answer, but this is the language that we have in the code.
Brian,
There's a
yes,
separate
please.
state,
Did they reach out to Weaver Basin Water Conservation District, did the landscaping info they wanted? Weaver Basin wanted to put, for us to adopt this ordinance?
Yes, they did.
Is this it? It appears to be what Weaver County has in their ordinance.
I believe so, yeah.
You believe, which,
I believe that it is the Weaver County Water Conservancy District.
it's the language from the older code.
It appears to be the old code to me, not the new stuff from Weaver Best. Let's just take a to-do for the future that we need to reach out to Weaver Basin Water and get their waterway stuff and see if we want to add it to our code, and I'll withdraw this comment. Because this appears to be what was directly brought over from Weaver County's land use ordinance. Okay.
Councilor Rowland.
I'm just adding a comment, that work that is reference, incorporated by reference. The Weaver Basin Water Conservancy District rules regarding waterway landscape.
My recollection is that they had specific language that they wanted us to adopt as a code. So. I don't know.
Okay.
If it works, it works. But I don't even know the title of it. Yeah, but we're a Tuesday night.
Okay. I'm looking for another council comment. Let's see.
You said, oh, that's.
It's old.
Kay said, is there a need to update? Anything more comments? Oh, that was a. So.
That's okay. And looking, nothing changed.
It has one over page 734.
Page number.
734. Way down there.
Where are we? 734.
It's on, that's on 723.
Sorry.
That's page 26 and 9.
Any of this conflict with our SLAWs? Right. 108, 723. We had quite a discussion in council about what to say about stream and river setbacks. Of course, that says Western Weaver. Well, city, so they adopted it as ours. Right? I assume.
I don't have a question.
Well, look up there, it was Western Weaver, are they suggesting this is ours?
So
I'm assuming so.
both areas are unincorporated in Weaver County and we share a land use code.
Right. But this section was titled Western Weaver.
Yeah.
And now it's called Western Weaver City.
Okay.
Who,
So,
what did they mean?
They did a find and replace county to city and then double check the.
okay,
And did they intend for this to apply to our city or did they just,
right.
what's their intent here? Because this was, my interpretation, this was written for Western Weaver, not Ogden Valley. Under the county.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It looked like, to me, like it's never looked.
Well, if you look, at the very bottom, it says, see Title 104, Chapter 28, Ogden Valley Sensitive Land Overlay Districts for Ogden Valley River and Stream Corridor setbacks. So apparently, this doesn't apply to us. And perhaps here, would you mention, see that title for reference?
Yeah, and it's like caveat to that, Councilwoman Hoagland, look at the top of the beginning 4 words, 5 words of a paragraph.
Oh, sure, that would.
The Ogden River below Pine View, so was that part of the Ogden Valley Sensitive Overlay Zone under the county? Was the canyon Ogden Valley under the county?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so so I think this this was not meant to apply to us under the county, is my interpretation of this thing.
But that last line, which is not part of that paragraph referring to Ogden River below Pineview. The last line says, see, Title 104, etc., with respect to Ogden Valley River and Stream Corridor setbacks.
Yeah, but that was the old 10428 under the county,
Yes.
not our new one.
That's correct, but we can still reference that Brian has a hand up.
So to get back to the original question, After double checking what was adopted on sensitive lands overlays already by the city, none of these standards conflict. However, I do agree that this is redundant and largely applicable to, was intended to be applicable to other portions of Weaver County.
So with the recommendation, we delete everything except for the last line that says C. Sensitive overlay zone.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm okay with that.
Yep, yeah. There you go.
Make it so.
Aye.
Sir.
Boy, we cleared the house.
Okay, yeah.
Very good.
Think so. No changes I see made to the cannabis production establishment.
Kay had a comment, could, should we allow this in that zones?
Cannabis, we already did. It's in AB3, I believe. Should we look?
And FB3.
Yeah, we didn't strike it out of AB3.
Okay, well then that ends the chapter.
Okay.
That ends the reading. All right. Did you get those comments to delete the section with the last line?
Yes.
And then just hold on one second, page 12, Don Hickman's comment of section 108-7-8 needs to be addressed. As well as the PRUD needs to be exchanged for the MUOZ zone.
Yes.
And then I have a little asterisk of, I guess maybe this is for future, but changing the Weaver Basin Water Conservancy District water-wise code. Okay, your question, that's what we're talking.
I just want, did we decide then that 108-734 stays as is, or it's being referenced to? Are we referencing it to where it's in the 83, so that stays here and reference it to where we have it, or just leave it as is?
I think this is the chapter in standards and then this, the zone gets applied. So this gets applied into whatever zone speed.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay. This will be a tricky motion, but I think you guys are up for it. I'll entertain a motion on chapter 108-7, supplementary and qualifying regulations.
I move that we adopt ordinance 2026. Chapter 108-7 supplementary and qualifying regulations. With the following changes. As suggested by Mayor. Go through your list.
Page 12, Councilmember Hickman's comment needs to be addressed in section 108-7-8. We need to exchange the PRUD to be the MDOZ zone further down the document. And then there was, I don't think that the changes for tonight, there was a future request for the language from Weaver Basin Water Conservancy District on water-wise code to put in, and then that section that we deleted all of the last line.
And also removal of the word documented.
Yes, so all changes made this evening should cover all of that, and then, but the Weaver Basin Water Conservancy is a future.
That's a future.
Okay, a future change. So I believe there's a motion on the table from Councilmember Hoagland to adopt chapter 108-7 supplementary and qualifying regulations with the changes made this evening. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, there is a second on the table from Councilmember Hickman. I will go in ascending order of district. Councilmember Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Doing Baker. Councilmember Hoagland.
Aye.
Councilmember Booth.
Aye.
Councilmember Hickman.
I,
The ayes have it, 5-0. Chapter 108-7 supplementary qualifying regulation has been adopted and approved with the changes from this evening. Agenda item 11, ordinance 2026-33, we had a number. Title 106, this is the subdivisions title. This is up for discussion and then possible action of denial, tabling, or adopting. We all want to pull that up. I believe you guys went through this in your work session yesterday.
Sure did.
Brian had homework. review with this.
Brian, did you do your
I did, I just gotta remember what it was and where I put it.
There's a title 106 subdivision dot final. At the
Okay,
bottom of the file.
well, yeah, so that's the one. So one of I was asked to look at the language on alternative street alignments, and I believe I sent, I didn't send it out until about 5 o'clock this afternoon, but I did send you the proposed changes, which, as you instructed, were to combine the criteria from the original Weaver County Code with recommendations that the planning commission had, removing duplicates. And then,
That section was what, do you remember? The T.
In there, no.
Okay,
so we're on
Pages.
106-2-1.
That's 2-1.
So scrolling down, but
On my copy, it's on page 25, or 26.
102, 106-2-1.
why do we have different copies? Wouldn't they all be in the stream? Share
Because
file.
of how big your fonts are.
Oh, really?
That is a good answer.
It depends on what.
Some of us might have our fonts.
It's one of the great mysteries of life, why things are. 106-2-1, correct, Brian?
What he said.
106-2-1.01 street configuration generally, and then we are on section 3, subsection 2.
Somebody's cursor.
There you go, right there.
Okay, 3, non-street
Here
adjacent
we go.
pathways.
Okay.
It's for me, it's so it's on page 32, it's a big picture with a street and a pathway.
You know, I think that's a different.
Lead us to the promised land, Brian. Give us the exact
So
reference.
the section reference is 106-2-1.010 under street configuration generally.
Right.
And then we're under section 3, section line and quarter section line streets, and then subsection 2, alternative street alignments.
There we go. It's approximately page. It depends on your font size. It's 25 on my computer, which is
It's
fine.
on the screen.
Okay,
Here it is right here.
alright,
Also, you can
yeah,
search for the word alternative.
But this, Brian is showing it on our large screen.
alright,
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Catherine, for showing it on the large screen.
alright, what was the homework, what was done?
He says that was.
So this, I went back and screwed this up. This is the adopted, or these, this is in black is the modified text that I created in reference to your recommendation to combine the old county criteria with some of the new suggested criteria for the city. So it changed from, I believe the county only had 4 criteria, we created 7. So there's one more that got worked on the next page.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Original shall be based on.
Just, yeah, the decision will be based and documented objectively.
X, Brian, that I'm studying, I think should be balanced to the left in terms of margin and. Because you're listing the criteria, and item 7 is not a criteria.
Okay.
It could also be moved into the text of. Before that list, but it just isn't one of the criteria. There you go.
Now, if I recall, none of us had actual substantive comments about this. We were frankly just confused because the planning commission had what appeared to be duplicative, both the county and their language, and so we wanted it cleaned up.
There was some duplicative, and then there was some that had been removed
Right.
by the planning commission that the city council felt was important to include.
So is it back in there?
It's back in
The
there.
public cost had been removed. Couple others.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
The second change. I haven't quite made the changes yet, but I made a bunch of comments to talk about. So, down in section 106-2-2.03, shared private lanes. Under subsection or section 2, shared or subsection 2, shared private lane temporarily in lieu of street. Now this is regarding temporary private lanes that are created as a part of an approved subdivision, where the developer agrees to maintain the road as a private road until certain conditions are met, and then it becomes a city street. Usually within the subdivision agreement, there's a trigger of how that happens. This would codify some of those triggers. The planning commission's, going back through my notes, the planning commission's concerns were that they wanted approved subdivisions to have the roads maintained appropriately before they became and constructed to the appropriate standards before they were vacated and turned over to the city.
So is this where we were discussing whether or not there was a construction standard that was being referenced?
No, that's a little further down.
Thank you.
But this is talking about specific triggers that would turn a private lane into a public road. The planning commission had, if a subdivision, 75% of the lots within the subdivision had received their building permits. At that point, street maintenance ownership would roll over to the municipality. If a private lane was extended to serve additional lots, at that point it would become city property. Whether the lane connects to a future subdivision or street, or when that connection to a future subdivision or street is.
And is this automatic though? Because what if? So to say, so if there's 75% of lots are built, it automatically becomes public. What if there's some sort of agreement about it being private?
Well, if the intent was for it to always remain private, then these triggers don't apply.
Okay.
This is only if the road was always intended to become public, but was maintained for, in some cases, a number of years as a private road while the subdivision was built out over time.
Sure.
So the automatic trigger to a public road, is this looking at the quality of that road before it's rolled over to us? So
yeah, so yeah, that statement above under number 8 conversion trigger, it states that any private lane that is to be approved in place of a public street shall be constructed. Well, the language is constructed to allow future conversion to public street standards. It could also say it shall be just constructed to city standards. But I guess the intent is the road would be originally constructed to private lane standards and then upgraded at the time that it's intended to become the city.
right, because the city still has an option to say, no, this has to be done. It has to be well constructed.
And that would be within the original subdivision agreement anyway. That the city would not take ownership until it met city construction standards.
Should that be stated that way before, because that's our standard? I mean, agreements could be different.
Right. I mean, yeah, it can be.
Does it need to be?
That need, I mean. It certainly creates.
We were trying to cut down on the duplication of language.
Yeah.
Is it anywhere else?
That's the question.
It would make this code more rigorous, in terms of defining when these conversions need to happen.
I think it protects the city a little bit from taking roads that are not up to standard.
But that was the planning commission's intent.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
I'm
gonna bring up at the right time, one of the things the planning commission pointed out, which is we've gotta have the right construction standard. Documented in here, but that's not in the document.
But I will say that a lot of these, they are redundant because the designation of the timing on this is often set in the subdivision approval process. And so it doesn't necessarily need to be in the code, it's just a question.
But it doesn't harm right now.
It doesn't necessarily harm, no.
Okay. It's just, if it does no harm, it gets us further to an approval. Let's do this.
I'm okay leaving it.
Councilor Hoagland,
I'm okay too, I have another item.
is it okay?
And just a recall to 106-2-1 .020 subparagraph 2 sub 1. It's on my page 27. And I highlighted in yellow, there's still a reference to village zone.
Village zones,
Yeah, and we don't have any.
We also don't have an MGOZ, but we plan to.
With that, well, we don't need. Would that be appropriate to put an MBOZ there? Instead of village zones?
Is that the mandatory compliance?
Yeah.
Okay, I did add that personally because, we had struck R1, 2, and 3 zones because they don't exist in the city. And so but yeah, I think, I put village in kind of just as a talking point because, we could leave the language in the ordinance to say that mandatory compliance would be necessary in certain zones, we just haven't defined what they are yet. So yeah, if we want to say master planned development zones.
We talk about village zones in a general plan now.
True.
But we don't.
Yeah, that's why I picked that language.
We don't, we also don't have a TDR. Ordinance, we're talking about
Master development.
Can we use both terms? Would that be advisable, Brian? I don't even.
I don't think it's harmful because right now it doesn't apply to anything,
Okay.
anything extent on ground.
Okay.
Mhm.
You got it.
Is that what you were gonna go with, master plan developments, not MDOZ?
I don't, just the phrase village zone struck me as inappropriate.
Right, do you approve of master plan developments versus MDOZ, master plan development overlay zone?
I think it needs to be overlay zone.
Understood. So that's my question.
Do you want me to take village zone out?
No, that's not the point. Master plan developments is different than MDOZ, the master plan development overlay zone. It's an actual zone, just like the village zones would be the.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
There we go. All right, next point so that we can move through this one. I think Councilor Graven brought up construction.
I don't know if we're there, when we get there.
Well, I think we went back, we were at like 30 something.
Scrolling down.
Brian, you had a task to get with Nate about private street construction. If we're there yet.
Yeah.
There.
Um,
And we addressed this one and we got that one done, I think. You didn't have any homework there. But I remember.
so private street construction standards. So we talked about the construction standards for private streets, the planning commission had reduced the minimum right of way requirement for private streets from 50 to 40. But otherwise,
Yeah, can you go down to that, whoever's showing it on the screen, can you go down?
are we on page 39 or well, page.
I'm on page 38 on my.
Yeah, let's go to,
Here's what I discovered. We do, I'm not sure that we do in fact have construction standards. The best I've been able to determine based on my search of the codes are that the county engineer has published construction standards, and I'll reference them, and I sent them to Brian. In 106 are mentioned, build them to public street standards. There's no definition of public street standard that I can find. We adopted in our municipal code roads, and we adopted in our municipal code a building permit, but we did not specifically adopt public street or construction standards that I can find.
Out of curiosity, are they in like a fire district code?
I don't know, I can't find them. I do know when I go to the county engineer's website, there they are. The county's engineering standards are right there on their website, but I can't find a reference to code saying go do it. So if it needs to be in here, I've sent Brian some language where we say that we adopt as our construction code. Brian, you'll have to look the email, but I said,
yeah, back in American Public Works Association standard specifications for public work construction version 2026, yeah.
And if we put it in there as a blanket, these are our construction codes, then at least we've covered that in the public street or in there. That I can't find anywhere else where we have defined what our construction codes are.
Could you find it in the Weaver County Code?
That's what I've been, and for my last half hour, I've been digging through them. And the only place I've searched their 106, whatever this is, and there's no construction code reference. The only thing in there is public street code, public street standard, whatever. And then when I search the rest of their code, I can't find one. The only thing I can find is going back to their engineering page. So I recommend, because it is what the engineers say, to reference whatever this is. Read it again.
Yeah, the American Public Works Association standards for 2026.
So to me, it's broader than this section right here. We keyed on this because we keyed on this last night, but But we got here last night because of the question of the standards. And so when Nate and I started searching, they were like, well, shoot.
Sure, Brian, that seems like a good approach to reference that standard. You may want to put language in. Or as thereafter maybe amended, or the blah blah blah.
The most current version.
In effect. Okay.
So is it, sorry, clarification here, is it going in this code?
I believe it should go in the code as right up front. This is the construction standard.
But so not in the section on page 37, you're talking about.
I would put it up top. This is the construction standard for Ogden Valley City.
For the purposes of hopefully being able to take an action on this title 106. Can we tell Brian exactly where to put it so that when we adopt it, it's there?
I would put it under general provisions, personally,
General provisions.
right up top. 106 dash.
A disagreement on general provision. If not, so.
Well, I think there's definitions down under the reserved section 106.12 right at the beginning.
So yeah, I struck reserve and replaced that section because it was conveniently empty. I replaced
Put
it.
it right there. You're right, Rudy.
I moved the minor and major subdivision classification information that had been inserted at the bottom. I moved that up to the top here.
So are you clear on where it's going, Brian?
I think it's, yeah, I can add it, I would add it right after that.
Right
That is
after
paragraph G.
Right after minor and major?
There we go.
Yeah, as a new section, just stating, and then we can change the subsections under that.
Okay.
And then therefore, I'm okay with this language here. We define, here's where our code is.
What's the next comment?
While we're right here up at one, we're not flipping back and forth. We took out the density calculations for 106.12. That's where the definitions are now, so that will need to be changed, but. Remind me, what did we decide I thought we were gonna put something in there as a statement. We took all the density calculation out, but we had that big conversation.
We agreed that we were going to make a study area of the planning consultants in the project we're gonna start in July.
Okay,
That we were gonna ask the question of the people in the town hall about their opinion, I'm just making it up right now, their opinion on how to approach net developable acreage and wetlands and the variety of things that the planning commission had suggested in there.
okay.
But it
so
was-
put something,
It was a reserved blank one and the planning commission went in, put in the entire definition, and we took the entire definition out.
So it's back to, yeah, and then we have it as an action item in the future.
And then I gave the action item to the staff at WFRC to follow up when we were executing the project.
Okay, that answers your
the one
question.
above it, Brian.
Okay. On my list, if we're back down in, where we were, on page 37, 38, the next thing is what you're looking for construction. Construction standards. Did that get asked and answered with that section?
So,
Okay, so then further moving down, anything else? We got a thing here, conversion trigger. Thought we were starting.
That's that.
Huh?
We already went over
Yeah,
that.
went over that already, scrolling down further.
Janet, will you tell me where?
Currently, I'm scrolling down past 47, looking for the next homework assignment, which I think is on 40 feet.
Yep.
Page 48. It is 11 minutes after 8. I would really love that if we could get this to a point of action.
I mean, if we're all on that same team here.
So at the bottom of 48,
Are we looking at the street cross-section design?
Flag law.
it says, this is under, it's the very last paragraph on 48 under access. This contradicts the last point, allowing up to 3 lots on a shared access. I believe that this is favored.
Flag lots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, so the original number one, each flag lot gains access to a street by means of its own free title access strip. Successive stacking on the same access strip is not permitted. That line's not necessary because well, actually, it was number 4 beneath that.
Yeah.
This says the access strip shall be configured in a manner that is the ability to support a future street, 60 feet wide. No, that's not it. Which one was we looking for? Okay, somewhere there was a line that allowed up to 3 flag lots on one shared
Yeah,
access.
it's down below somewhere. My recollection. 3,
So if we're going to allow successive stacking of lots, then we can't allow more than 2 on an axis,
Okay,
in my interpretation.
right, that language was somewhere down below these, if I recall. I'm sure. Was it 3? Was it 3 lots?
It did,
There we go, no more than, well, no, that was on the.
I think I've got it. Oh, gee. How many?
Right.
That's
Brian did the same thing,
106-2-4.010. And then you go down.
number 2 said the maximum of 2 flag lot access strips may be located adjacent to each other.
Right, you go down to item 3, sub 2.
Brian, are you controlling the screen or is Kathy?
No, it's kind
Kathy is.
Kathy, are you on the one there?
of.
Okay, you are.
Yeah, down a little bit
Go
more.
down.
This is,
Page 40.
yeah.
maybe page 49, we have, maybe.
Yeah, you're almost there, one more page. Right there.
Remnant parcel or what?
So it's that number 4. That's okay. I mean,
Okay, so what is the problem we're trying to solve?
I was reading a comment from saying this contradicts the last point, allowing up to 3 lots on a shared access.
Okay.
And then he says, I deleted this in favor of being more permissive on access standards. Is that a homeowner's time? I don't think so, it's May 6th,
Right.
so no, so that comment is asked and answered.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, the next comment is from May 8th with Don Hickman.
No, we were that.
Is that already asked and answered?
I think so.
Yes, that's-
What was it?
Go with the Derek,
Yep,
right,
yep, we did that last
so,
night.
and that got input? Okay, so then moving down. Looking for the next homework assignment. Seems to be no more. Alright, so then did all the homework assignments get completed?
I believe so. There was the issue about alternative street approval, there was the issue about city construction standards.
Okay, any council members have any other questions or discussion points? Alright, I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve chapter 106 subdivisions as amended tonight.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to adopt ordinance 2026-33, which is the subdivision title, as amended tonight. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Councilmember Hoagland, the original motion, Councilmember Hickman. It is an ordinance, I'll go in ascending order of district. Councilmember Shaw, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Dylan Baker.
Aye.
Councilmember Hoagland.
Aye.
Councilmember Booth.
Aye.
Councilmember Hickman.
Aye.
Alright, that is a 5-0 vote to approve ordinance 2026-33 as amended this evening. Alright, it is. Alright, it is 17 minutes after 8. I believe there are ordinances on tonight's agenda that have already been thoroughly reviewed, discussed, and agreed upon. I would prefer if we go ahead and create an action for those, and anything that has not been through that process will get tabled. How do you all feel about that question?
That's a good, sure, what are they?
That is the question next. So we know it's not gonna be item 12 ADUs has not gone through that process. Pathways has not gone through that process. Short-term rentals has not gone through that process. CV2, I believe, has not.
We've partially gone through CV2.
Did you get to a place of agreement?
No.
Okay, so we'll table that as well. Moving on to CVR1. Place of agreement?
We have not talked about that.
Okay, tabling that one. Moving on to residential manufactured housing zone. I believe we did get to a place of agreement at previous meeting.
We tabled it for whatever reason, and I don't remember.
It was.
That's why I table.
Right, for Sharon, who's reviewed the audio of that meeting, we did table it, we did not.
We tabled it because it was the last one on our list and it was very late.
So it wasn't come to an agreement.
It was not.
Okay, that's all set. Asked and answered, we can move on from there. Manufactured valley zone. Did we get to an agreement?
I thought we passed that, didn't we?
We had a series of meetings where we reviewed and got to agreement that they were not voted on.
Well, I might have to refresh.
Unless otherwise, I asked for an updated adopted list.
Yeah, I apologize, I didn't get that to you last night.
Right, do you happen to know if we adopted it?
I do not remember adopting.
I don't think
I
we
do
did.
remember discussing it in work session.
I agree with you. I believe we discussed it and came to agreement that did not adopt it.
I think we could get that one done tonight if we refresh our memory on what we did.
Okay, just for purposes of clarity, so potentially getting through manufacturing tonight, what about gravel zone? Did we come to an adoption
We haven't.
or agreement? We have not discussed it. Okay, so that one would automatically be tabled, sensitive lands overlay.
I'm sure we voted for the, like,
Yeah, my recollection is that that was passed because it was necessary for the.
Yeah, I thought so. Minutes today from that. Yeah, I think we did.
Okay,
I'm sure we voted for
so we can go ahead, and table or not address that.
it. Right.
Okay, and then that takes us out. So right now, if people are willing to stay a little bit longer, hopefully it's only a little, because I think we came out of the internet. We could go forward with ordinance 2026-32 and table the rest. Let's say council,
I'd have to look at it.
and let's say staff.
That's MV one,
I
right?
have to go back before you make a share.
Oh, no.
Ironically, the guy who owns the land in question, Gary, can you step back in? If we talk about it.
Alright, so I'm gonna ask some council, let's pass the time things. We're good? Okay, why don't we go ahead and open up the ordinance 2026-32 manufacturing zone.
Yeah, I think our question was, percentage versus square footage.
That was one, and then there were uses that, a long list of. You know.
We created an outdoor storage usage and we defined it explicitly. In the table, under 104-21-3-150. We did that. Brian, what else did we do?
We discussed the height of it too, and I think we came to a decision on the overall height.
Yeah, and in the document, the height that is in here is 40 feet except 35 if adjacent to a street or right of way. And that's what we agreed to.
Right.
Thank you, Chad. And then we decided on a max of 60% of the lot size is the maximum lot coverage by buildings. And that's what's in here. So we made that change. I don't recall discussing any other items for discussion that were.
We had talked about, boy, we need to review all these utilizations, use, because they were very dated. And prohibited things like. Yeah.
Are you talking about, like the,
We went through all the tables and
I specifically remember.
I think she's talking about the, where is it?
When we had a discussion of. Was this where we had the discussion? No, this is manufacturing.
this is manufacturing.
I know, like, with the discussion of boutique cars.
That was in CB2. So this one, we went through all the uses.
We really didn't, 104-21-3.
Textile tables.
You guys, can you pull it up for you?
Yeah,
So. This is on, it's manufacturing zone,
page 4.
104 something rather.
104-21.
-21-3.040 commercial services table.
Right, she does in the document itself, so she can pull it up.
You said 3-140,
No,
030?
which one are you?
104-21-3.040.
040. I heard you say something.
Commercial services table?
Right,
Okay. And what about it?
I had asked before we got to take a stroll through a review of these permitted uses, because some of them seem incredibly dated.
Like?
Well, for example,
Motion pictures to go.
yeah, really.
Right,
Even looking at like a laboratory, it's not permitted there. Why would you not put a laboratory there? Motion picture studio outdoor.
I'd like to point out because Councilmember Jim Baker has had expressed concerns, and it says in this table, data set services, a data center, data warehousing, and data processing is an and not permitted.
This is a good advice.
There you go.
You'll also find the comments in CV two.
Yeah. But
I didn't put it here because it was a no, but I think that's something we have to look at. And I would also want to add, if we're doing commercial stuff, if it would fall under there. small modular reactors. Cause they only take 3 acres.
Small modular what?
Reactors, nuclear reactors, they come down modular, they're putting them together and. Anyway,
That's staying on the manufacturing
Yeah.
zone on laboratories.
but that's what I'm
Why
saying.
are you making changes, Ryan?
That was a mistake, sorry.
But Don, I'm trying to reach that point. It's manufacturing, I don't think we should, until, and my thing is, until we research it and find out what we need to do as a community.
A reactor is not a manufacturing, it's a power generation source, so it wouldn't be in here.
Okay.
Okay,
So where would it be?
I think that should stay regulated, because we have no ability to go with anyone but Rocky Mountain Power. We're under a monopoly installed by the state.
But it's happening all around us, so I just think we need to make sure we research and put into place things that we need to have.
You can put it in an overlay zone if we chose not to have something like that.
Sorry.
But we could say no power plants in an overlay zone if we wanted to do that. But in this one, the nuclear power plant is not a manufacturing, it's a power generation plant.
So
Manufacturing valley.
may I suggest it's a valid consideration, but not for this area. By definition, it's not gonna be in a manufacturing zone.
Okay, do you have any recommendations on what you would want to change from the
Yes, I
NDP
think
to
we should allow a laboratory. That's a clean use, so far as I know. We should allow motion picture studio or maybe some updated information or verbiage on that, Brian. Motion picture studio and the studio outdoors. This must have been in Shirley Chaplin's day.
Is it manufacturing?
I don't think it
I don't
is.
think so.
Well, it is in the current code.
It's not, it's not.
It's listed as a permitted use in other manufacturing zones in Beaver County. And it was not allowed, not permitted
Because it's different than
in
the.
the MV zone, but it was allowed in other manufacturing zones.
I think we should allow it. I was just talking to a resident who does catering and he said you wouldn't believe the number of movies that are being produced up here.
There's,
No, that's true.
there's a series that's being produced in Morgan County.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm okay approving it,
Yes.
but. Go ahead.
Can I ask, those are special events, because they've contracted special
Yeah.
events before.
But if someone said they wanted to produce them here in the studio here, I'm just trying to give
That's
owners of the property flexibility on easy things and they can just click through here.
But that's not that, anyway, you kind of distracted me. You were asking about the laboratory, and it's an N.
Yes, she wants it to
Was
be.
that from Weaver County,
Yes.
that it was not?
Mention, yes.
There is no definition of laboratory in our definitions. If we adopt it as a permanent use, what are we enabling?
What is it?
If we're barring it, what are we enabling?
Well, that's the problem too.
I would then take it out entirely because it's not a defined term.
How, I've got one person who would like to delete the line of laboratory. Anyone else?
Delete the line, what do you mean?
Take it out.
Take it out, it's not defined, and so even just having it in there as a no versus a P could create some sort of discussion, so she is recommending remove it. How, say,
Yes, I'm good with that.
there's 3 that say that's great, let's go ahead and strike laboratory.
Laboratory.
Bye-bye.
The motion picture stuff, are we okay with adding?
I'm okay with motion picture studio. Sure.
Yeah, why not?
I'm just available, I mean, we'll get a go at quite active and do their thing.
Yeah, what does the studio look like?
Well, maybe 60% of an acre and I have no idea how much.
It could be a lamination studio,
Right.
because we didn't define it.
Generally,
It could be something-
Generally, they look like a warehouse from the
Yeah.
outside. They
Right.
don't want windows to interfere with light. They don't want.
I'm fine with the motion picture studio.
That would be down, we should be so.
Yep,
We need revenue, so sure, let's do it.
sure, come on in.
Alright, what else did you want to see changed?
That is it, and Let me look at what else. Okay. This is a really interesting discussion. I'm sure we really wanted this kind of night, but mixing facilities. There was a discussion yesterday. We're asked about
Where are you?
104-21-3-3.060. Temporary construction material manufacturing.
Okay. Mixing facility, all right.
Okay. This applies to, mixing is different from a cement factory, concrete factory, asphalt, it's a mixing facility. And, with a lot of building going on up here, it makes sense to lighten the load on Canyon and to allow some mixing to occur up here in our manufacturing zone.
In our MV1 zone?
Hmm?
In our MV1 zone behind Snowcrest,
Yeah.
where they had a big problem.
That was gravel mining and that was reason.
Correct. So would this they were talking about?
Their problem, I mean, I went to,
There was
they were
stuff.
noise, traffic,
Yeah.
if they needed a left-hand turn lane, blah, blah, blah.
I spoke against that in that meeting.
Well, but so if this is this indoor or outdoor? I think it says indoor or outdoor. So I would think if it's indoor, I mean, I don't know what that. So,
Would this look like, cause I'm thinking mixing facility like, downtown. What are they called?
Geneva,
Geneva and
the various ones. Yeah.
various, those big trucks, the big yards out there.
okay,
That's what I'm thinking.
so we have a.
Jump in on this too. I don't think there's enough space there to adequately do it. I don't have a lot of information on like what is required, but just thinking about the ones that are down along 1900 and out 12th Street. It just seems like there is a lot of acreage needed for something like that. I just think for the time being on something like this, until we get more information on what that actually means, unless you have it, Kay, and can provide that information to us, I just think we leave it as no for now and then possibly look at it changing it in the future. But without having adequate information on what it actually is, I just don't think it's smart to add that in there.
There is no definition in our definitions.
Well, there's not a definition of a lot of these uses.
So we.
But we started that actually, what are those? Reasons, Councilmember
If we're gonna do this, the right place to do it is to do it in the gravel zone. The planning commission's forwarded to us does not allow us in the planning in the gravel zone, but if we were to choose to do it, the right place is there to be part of those type of operations.
Okay.
Versus driving down that winding road to get down into MV zone.
Yeah, absolutely, okay,
What's
that's,
this remixing?
Well, so right, at the moment, we're keeping it as a no, so for the purpose of tonight and being late, we don't need to answer, because I'm talking about it in gravel.
my next, use, I'm just trying to get the commercial uses for our own benefit, it is in. Here we go, 104-21-3.07,
So the next one will down,
food manufacturing,
okay?
okay.
I see everything permitted except for fat rendering.
Yeah, smoking meats.
Let me see,
Oh, well, that's the next page.
Which one are you talking about, Kate?
I'm just, wait a minute, let me look.
Kathy, what page are we on?
This is page 6.
Depends on your format.
Across the station.
Does food products manufacturing include a bakery?
Bakery goods are permitted.
Bakery.
So bakery goods manufacturing, second line item on the table,
The manufacturing of bakery goods.
permitted.
Let me see.
So nonsense.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Next.
Okay, fat rendering is a no, did you want it to be a yes?
No.
Okay, moving down to page 7.
Okay, let us go to,
Food products manufacturing is a no, which says potentially hazard chemicals, yeah, that's fine.
let's go to 104-21.
Did we care about curing meats? Smoking and curing?
No,
I'm fine.
Alright,
Yeah,
going down, next one is gaseous and liquid non-food manufacturing.
I'm fine. I'm looking now at 104-21-3, dot 100 pharmaceutical.
Okay. Cannabis.
Okay, a cultivation establishment, what is that? It's an in-house.
Growing weed indoors.
Yeah,
So
so,
what's the problem with that?
so we allow it in various zones. We're not allowing it in this zone.
It's allowed in the agricultural zones as an agricultural operation.
And why not allow it here?
This is indoor.
This is indoor, it's clean manufacturing.
Because Weber County didn't, and we're suggesting to adopt. it.
I'd say maybe yes.
We can do that.
It's
I've
legal.
got 2 for a yes.
Why did Weaver County not allow?
We don't have that answer.
I would surmise this may have been done before it was medically permissible, I'd say.
There are 2 that are saying they.
I'm okay changing it to yes.
That's 3.
If it takes us to. Not here to.
That's 3. So is it both
Yeah,
both cannabis line items to a P? And then what about the pharmaceuticals generally?
Wait, you did cannabis cultivation, is that, should we put indoors? In this zone?
Well,
Yes.
because otherwise we're growing
Yes.
out outdoors, and that's agriculture.
Yes.
This is manufacturing. I think that's a valid comment.
Yep. Indoor.
Indoor only, do we need to say, or is indoor fine?
Make it indoor only, and it's obvious.
Okay.
okay.
Cannabis
Yeah.
production establishment, that is a P. Now pharmaceuticals generally, is that still a no, or is that also on the table?
I think it's on the table, why would you
That's 1. We need more than 1.
That would be okay too, if that.
That's 2 for a P.
What are, like, pharmaceuticals, what are you manufacturing? Like aspirin?
Everything.
Aspirin,
What does it take to manufacture that?
Well, there's an FDA.
FDA regulations.
I mean, we don't decide that. The question is, will you allow that industry in this zone?
I know, yes, that's 3.
That's 3 yeses. Can we make that a P, please?
Okay.
Alright. Next table is .110 basic material manufacturing table.
There's no suggestions unless someone.
There's a lot of no's, we're not changing those. Alright, next table after that is .120 final product manufacturing table. Lots of no's, there is a P in there.
Not sure.
Should this pharmaceutical generals be a P in
No, the N should be struck, like with a cross through it, and the P should be. Was just added,
Try and make it go away, please.
just the N needs to be crossed out.
It shows up as a strikeout on
Okay.
my screen.
Just shows it's true.
Alright,
Okay, I could go on, but,
anything of like real importance, but we're
yeah,
let's do it.
let's do it, look at 104-104-21-3. Dot 130.
That's public, quasi-public, and institutional table, it's on page 11. So,
Okay, why would we not want a public safety training facility? It's a no.
So the first thing that comes to my head out of this would be what Weber Fire is building out in Far West? The training facility that they're building?
Or it could be the sheriff, in indoor range.
But that's not gonna bring us on. That's, and
Okay.
here's other one of my comments where.
By the way, we don't get any tax revenue out of the public safety training.
That's what Councilmember Julie Baker just mentioned, and I will say, the vision of the valley is a recreational destination and all these other things. I think it's safe at this point to keep those no's,
Okay.
and then if that vision changes, we can adjust it then.
So public, quasi-public institutions, is where I can put my note for
Yeah.
FMR, for small data centers.
Data centers were up above and it already
Okay,
says
so
no.
probably small manufactured reactors.
You're talking about power reaction.
Those are power generation, Peggy, they're not manufacturing. Those are power plants.
They would not be commercial use.
But let me explain, in Burnham City, where I'm coming from, in Burnham City, they now have the designation of being a manufacturing, and they're getting these little power plants and manufacturing, so they're building them somewhere. And putting them together, they're like prefab houses. They come in parts, you put them together and you have a little reactor that sits on 3 square acres. It could be anything. So I'm just worried until we study it, that's all I'm saying. It may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing, but we don't know enough about it right now.
I would just say it's not a permitted use in the stable,
Yeah.
so you're protected. And then we can come back for it, so the data centers slash nuclear.
Coal-fired power plants aren't in here either, or steady and coal, so because they're not there, they can't be done.
Okay, because it's not mentioned as permitted, it would not be appropriate here, it would not be considered here. Okay.
Is this an all-exclusive list that nothing here that a landowner can come in and ask for, Brian?
Yes.
So if it's not here, they can't ask.
They can ask.
So they can ask, but we don't have to say yes.
It's if it is not permitted, then it is not allowed. So even if it's not on the list, it's not allowed.
Right.
Because it's not explicit, it has to be explicitly permitted
So there's,
to be legal.
Brian, can you tell me the difference between, so if we left it off, it's no big deal?
But if you leave it off, then it is not permitted.
Okay, but they can still come and ask like.
Anyone can come and ask, yeah.
Okay.
Even if there's an end, couldn't they come?
Sure, they can always ask.
Okay, I'm just raising this outdoor storage on 104-21-3.150.
so 2 tables that.
Yeah, we talked about outdoor storage before, not a fan, but.
That is the one that we as a consensus agreed to, maybe it was 4-1.
It was added with special regulations on
Yeah.
screening, fencing, et cetera.
Yeah, that was discussed at our.
We all created that.
It is marked as a no here?
No, it's a P.
It's a P.
The N has a strike through it, the P is gonna end.
Mine doesn't.
And it has a section of comment next to it. All outdoor storage areas shall be fully screened from view from the public. We worked on that during the workshop.
And it's not in my copy, which is really bizarre.
Hmm.
Okay,
He's already applied for a business license.
okay.
Well, good, because he's been advertising his business. So I appreciate him coming under compliance.
Did someone wanna talk about a dry cleaning plant? No. Upholstery is permitted. Okay.
Okay.
And how, okay, I think we are looking good.
Transportation table, the freight transfer. What does that mean exactly? Is that basically like, I picked up a whole bunch of logs to build with, I can drop them off in your lot, and then you pick them up to build?
Yeah, exactly. It's
We don't allow that in here. We have a lot of building going on, is that a problem?
It could be, yeah. I mean,
It's like
it
a
just means that people can't bring in large quantities of something, construction materials, and then break them out into.
Isn't that exactly what the guy in gravel is actually
That's
doing?
what Stokes wants to do.
That's what he wants to do.
Yeah, the Stokers want to do that, and
I thought they were doing it.
well, they're allowing dirt and gravel and stuff to be stored in, but not wood and things like that.
But yeah, they're moving sand and gravel. What he also wants to be able to do is to sell it commercially offsite, which he's not doing currently.
Okay, but that goes under the discussion for gravel.
Yeah.
This is manufacturing. I personally am.
Why not let it happen here though? Right, I mean, it's listed. As no, yeah, that's. The eyeball thing of this.
I mean, it can be as big in scale as taking things out of a train car and breaking them down into truckloads, but that's not going to happen here. What you're looking at doing is taking large truckloads of commodities and breaking them down for smaller delivery local.
Could be construction related, and again, cut down on the traffic up in that canyon.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah,
we're still bringing it.
there's,
It
may be though in less
So
balls.
way you're bringing one big truck
Yeah.
instead of 5 little trucks.
I will say that as a truck driver's daughter.
So one note, that Glenn was talking about something similar, not specifically, the building materials, but he was stating before.
Yeah.
And it was more to the grass, but it's the same idea, the same notion. That we have fewer trucks coming up our roads.
Yeah.
we have a place here to take it, to portion it out and use it to build, and it would save everybody money. You know, we wouldn't be paying the same delivery fees, that, you know, there would be a, you know, a revenue generator.
I agree with all of his comments. My question is, so it's stated in manufacturing with a no. I agree that we should allow, we have, the next decade is gonna be nonstop construction up here. We might as well capitalize on it and try to mitigate some of the disturbances because of it, whether it's the traffic and congestion in the corridors. Does it, to me, manufacturing seems like a fine place to put it, but if we are going to not do it here, can we think about doing it in the gravel? I don't know that it really relates to gravel, actually, but I think we should consider it somewhere, whether it's here or gravel or wherever, it should be a yes somewhere.
My question would be, why not other places?
Oh, let's stay with the zone here, because if we're doing it, are we doing that indoor or are we doing that outdoor?
That's
Well, outdoor, I think needs to have some parameters around it. Yeah, like the outdoor storage. It has to have some rules around what would be there. I think it'd be.
I was just gonna say, the tenant that's been there the last year and a half is exactly what they did. They brought in truckloads of conduit, truckloads of all the different power.
Yeah.
Yes, the whole valley.
That's 1884 is next to.
Yeah, and without being able to lease up here, they'd have to bring trucks every day up and down, can't get.
Yeah, it has been the site of contention with the properties and the properties next to it, because it is not allowed in Weaver County. And yes, they were doing it and are doing it, but.
They've actually done a pretty good job keeping it clean on there.
So.
Depends who you talk to.
Right, as I said, there are.
Their neighbors ain't laughing, but I would agree with you.
So, yes or no, people?
Yes.
Yes.
But put fences around it if Peggy wants them.
Yes, I think it should have the same thing as outdoor storage, that's what it is.
Copy and paste outdoor storage and screening and put it here and change the ends to P's, please. And this is both for indoor, outdoor, the screening would go under outdoor, correct? Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright,
I think
scrolling down. I don't think we need a wrecking yard. I think we're good with these staying no.
I'm good.
The transfer station is staying alive down in Ogden, so I don't think we need one in here.
Okay.
We don't need radioactive waste. Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, we made it.
Okay, those are the final changes I see.
Kay, would you like to move with your changes? So we can vote on it?
You make better moves.
I'm just saying, for the changes of that, like, Brian, did you get those two great
I got
lines?
Yes, I did get
To permit it and the copy paste of the screening into the outdoor?
Yes.
I move we approve ordinance 2026-32 manufactured valley zone with the edits made to it.
We have a motion on the table from Councilmember Hager.
Second.
It is seconded by Hogan to adopt with the changes made tonight, the ordinance 2026-32. Starting in ascending order, Councilmember Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Billy Baker. Councilmember Hogan.
Aye.
Councilmember Booth.
Aye.
Councilmember Hickman.
Aye.
5-0, the motion is approved and passed. Ordinance 32, manufacturing valley zone, has been adopted. Okay. All right, all other items, which are agenda items 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 19 have been tabled and will come into the next meeting. We do not have a request for closed session, and so I will take a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Councilmember Shaw got the first, second, Councilmember Hoagland, the second, it is 8:48, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Sharon, are you gonna do that?
Alright, 8:48.